as a representative of Slovakia, Mr. Tomáš Funtik from the BIM Asociacja Slovensko. The title of his speech is Actual Status of BIM Implementation in Slovakia. Mr. Funtik, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. And thank you very much for the invitation for such a perfect event that you are running. I would like to share with you the actual status of BIM implementation in Slovakia, what we are currently doing here, what is the status of public procurement or the status of private projects. So hopefully I'll be able to fit within the time frame and provide you with some information that of your interest. All right, so let me tell you something about who we are in a BIM association, because this is the organization that I represent. We are a non-profit organization that deals with the issues related to building information modeling in Slovakia since 2013. We have a lot of members and support, so basically we cover the life cycle. We work with big implementation companies, with contractors, engineers, architects, and so on, and a lot of organizations on the national level, like universities, chambers, and etc. So inside of our organization, basically we are the engine of BIM in Slovakia, and we are trying to focus on standardization in our work groups. So basically, if I may wrap it up, we are a bottom-up approach, and we are trying to focus on the tasks that are missing on the market. So our members are basically doing really effectively, depending on what they are interested in. I can mention some of the tasks that they have been accomplished. We were focused on preparing BIM execution plan for the companies that would like to manage BIM projects. We also are done with the task of preparing the outline and the recommended structure for exchange information requirements in Slovakia that is aligned with the series of standards of 19650. And we are basically trying to support the engineers, architects, and investors with the key information that should be included within these crucial documents. We organize a lot of seminars, workshops. Basically, a lot of people are interested in BIM in Slovakia. They're finding the path. I need to state in the first place, we still do not have a national implementation roadmap. So basically there is no date and no due date still when the BIM should be live in Slovakia at the national level. Although on the other hand, the private sector is really active and focusing on really looking forward to any kind of information about BIM. We are trying to support not only the private sector and the companies, but we're targeting also students. So we're preparing we prepared platform called BIM for Free. We are organizing the road trip around Slovakia just to deliver the information to them, just to show them that BIM exists. BIM is also in the regions, and we are trying to engage local architects or the local firms that can make it more reliable. We are trying also to motivate students and providing the competition for them. So hopefully you can see the video in short after movie, how it looks like. So the motivation to run this challenge, we call it BIM challenge, is to get the students to the companies that really work with BIM. Because it's really misfortune and unlucky if we have good talent and the good skills in the young engineer or architect, and he ends up in the company that really doesn't really focus on BIM. So this is another activity that we do for over 6 years already. We organize events at the national level. So we have National BIM Conference It was the seventh annual conference this year. So I can really state that there is a lot of interest in this topic overall in Slovakia. But let's see the numbers, how we're doing with the implementation, despite the fact that we don't have any implementation roadmap in place in Slovakia. I would like to mention that we are collecting the information on annual basis. And currently we are engaged with ECEC, that is European Council of Engineers Chamber, and we are running the EU BIM survey in various countries. We already ran the survey in Czech Republic, Slovakia, in Italy. We're now preparing Slovenia and many other countries. So maybe one day we can talk about including Poland as well. But see the numbers in Slovakia. For 2021, we had something less than 1,400 respondents, quite a lot. And this is the distribution. The green color is focused on buildings, and blue color is 37 of our respondents are focusing on infrastructural projects. But the key question is, do you use BIM? 20% or something over 20% declares that they're using BIM already in Slovakia. 30% that declares that they have a really interest in this technology, but doesn't really use it now. And 49%, which is less than half, doesn't use BIM yet. This is comparison between buildings that they are on the left and in engineering and infrastructural project on the right. Blue color is always in following slide. Blue color is for using, orange for interested but not using yet, and gray is for not using and don't see a future in it. So we can see comparison between buildings and infrastructure that we see, and I can really underline is that in the buildings we are much farther developed than comparing to infrastructural project in Slovakia. The question regarding how long do you use BIM? It's you can see 1 year, 2, 3 years, up to 6 years. So we have 33% of the companies that use BIM. They use it for more than 6 years, which is this provides you information about the experience with BIM, and it's related to public procuring as well, because the only thing that we have in the public procurement in Slovakia, that it's the directive that we all know, the 24, and that allows us to require BIM and public procurement. And this is clearly the information that the companies on the market, they already have enough experience, and we cannot say that this is something extraordinary or unique and nobody could fulfill the conditions set it in public procurement. The overall information for over the years, since 2017, we can see that the situation in the buildings hasn't really changed dramatically. So since the early stages, 22% to 28% over 4 or 5 years is not that much. I can see that this is due to the fact that we don't have the motivation, the driver on the national level, like the countries that have implemented and set it the due date for BIM use, or the mandatory BIM use of BIM in public procurement. Obviously, we cannot set the mandate for private sector, but this is really a business driven, so we don't have to motivate them. They know why they're doing it. This is the brief overview of infrastructure. You can see all that really it stagnates. We're still, the problem is, or the issue is that the investor for infrastructure is, and really almost 100%, it's the state, it's the country. So we feel that we really need to have a mandate, set it up within the implementation roadmap, and we expect that later on these numbers will change. Brief overview of BIM in life cycle. So we separate development, project phase, then construction and facility management. We can see the most developed are development and project phase, we have still some gap to close within the construction, because we can have perfect models filled with a lot of information, and we're not able to transfer it yet to the construction site. We ask also the companies if they use BIM, and what is the percentage of their use, because obviously there are companies that they use BIM in their company, but not on 100% of project. Some of the projects are still run in CAD systems, so 31% of those people that use BIM already use it on 100% projects. So basically they don't do anything else than BIM. We can see that still a lot of companies are running at least partially, or some of the projects are run in or executed and using CAD. This information is crucial to data exchange. We are surprised that only 30% of those people that use BIM today are using common data environment. So that tells us that the collaboration on project is not really effective, and this can be significantly improved in a time. Jaroslav talked about it in his presentation, that the digitization cannot be based on emails and Excels. So basically we are forced to use CDEs in order to be effective within the collaboration and exchange the data. We are also asked them, and this is the part where we can evaluate what is the mandate inside of the private project and how BIM is managed. We're surprised that only 11% of those people and those companies that are already using BIM have BIM execution plan on all their projects. 65%, which is the majority of them, doesn't have BEP in place for the projects. So this tells us a lot about the management of internal management and execution of BIM projects, and we can evaluate certain level of BIM according to this question. The motivation is also always a key. So 68% of people that are using BIM do it due to their own motivation. So basically the companies or the engineers, architects, they're doing BIM not because somebody required it and mandated, because they see the profit in it. And this is the good thing for implementation. Only 21% currently is the requirement from the employer, is the orange color. 10% is the requirement from the business partner, is at the level of 10%, and 1% is for the requirement for your mother institution. We can see those, for example, in international companies that have the mother company in, for example, in Norwegian region, or Germany, France, or in the UK. And the overall implementation and use of BIM, it's connected to demand. It's directly connected. So we can see that 73% of people declared nobody ever asked BIM from them. So nobody asked them if they can deliver. Only 7% of people that participate in survey state that BIM is required from their suppliers, and only 18% declares that they are receiving for demand of BIM. So basically they're asking, okay, guys, can you do BIM? Can you deliver BIM project, or can you execute it using BIM tools? So I think it's still fairly low. And let's look at the barriers. So basically, we're going to implement something. As you can mention, there is overall, if you add it up all percentage together, it will not sum up to 100%, because we allow people to select multiple barriers. The biggest barrier that people can see in BIM implementation in Slovakia are missing standards and processes. It's 38% of them. 36% can see the problem is the price of a BIM project and price related to BIM implementation. So, for example, we can see under it, it can be the price of the software, it can be price of the hardware, or you know, per wages of people, of skilled people. They can really work with BIM, and other. So the barriers are there. And the forecast of expectation of people, that how they can see the BIM implementation in future. So as you can see, 20% already using, and within the time frame of 5 years, 60% of people think that will be using BIM, which is really a huge number. We don't really think that that will be 60% within 5 years. We'll be surprised to see that and looking forward. But what is the key message from here, that the implementation on national level should be really the topic for our authorities and for our government, despite the fact that they have it as one of the goals, the digitization of construction sector, that they will use, for example, BIM for building permissions. We don't see concrete steps yet, although we are hearing some rumors of what they're trying to implement and how they're going to deal with this issue. But up to now, we don't have anything in our hand, and the process of this implementation at national level from the government perspective is really, really low. We are preparing at the national level a new construction law that mentions BIM, and the issue in Slovakia is currently that we don't allow electronic form of project. The project in Slovakia can be submitted only in paper form and in the form of the documentation, drawings, and the text documents. So BIM model, according to our legislation, is not considered as the project documentation. And this is what we really believe and sincerely believe needs to be changed. We need to allow at least to submit electronic form of documentation, and then change the definition of project itself, and it needs to be information oriented. So not the output oriented, that it needs to be drawing or something else. It needs to be the set of information for someone who needs to do the decision at the end. And let me finish my presentation with few projects so you can see how our private sector is dealing with BIM in Slovakia. I must say that really a lot of projects are done with excellent quality and excellent level of detail. Sometimes the problem is really the granularity of information, that it's really too much, and this needs to be addressed in the following years. So this is few projects that are in Slovakia, and some of them are really nice, including all the internal systems and managed well inside of BIM execution plan. So few last project. This is one of the public projects that we have. So although we don't have a mandate for BIM in the public sector, as you know, we can require BIM. So this is one of the use cases that have been done in the national transport company in Bratislava. And hopefully you can see at the end the video that provides you the inside of one of the nice projects that has been finished recently in Bratislava. So you can see the level of information that it's inside, and the level of geometry that we can provide. And this is actually moved to the construction site. So this building is being now constructed, and the BIM is used also in construction. So my perspective was also, here are my contact information in case you feels like contacting me. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be glad to receive the questions in the panel and discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Funtik. Just a short expression after this presentation. Thank you for that.